are back with another episode of the Dirty Laundry Game Worn Hockey Podcast, episode number 40. We are cranking through these. The listens are going up, the comments. Again, appreciate all the support. We've got a lot of stuff going on. Wade Hampton, Paul Rank joined me tonight. I want to apologize to Justin. I had meant to reach out this week, and my week has been like shit with work and a bunch of other stuff. So I reached out to him about a half hour before the show. He was tied up in some other things, couldn't make it. So I promise the Winnipeg Expo will not be forgotten. So next time we are on, we'll have Justin on doing that, and we'll have Wade coming on to talk about Nova, but we'll get to that discussion here in a minute. Remind everybody to go reach out to Mitch Amaya. He's got a bunch of the Drink Your Face Off pucks and shirts. Want to continue to plug those because they are beautiful and they do open bottles very well. I've used that a lot recently. Even my son's been bringing home the fancy root beer that you actually have to use a bottle opener for. So he's been using my Drink Your Face Off puck. So again, thanks, Mitch. Please reach out to him. He does actually have them on eBay as well. If you want to some reason buy them through there, just reach out to him directly. Saves everybody fees and all that kind of stuff.
I just received my new blue Drink Your Face Off shirt, and per Mitch's request, I will be wearing it at the Nova on Saturday.
Right. Make sure you get lots of pictures and send it. Say, see, I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
So I felt bad because I realized in the video, and I tried to adjust myself last time as my microphone was blocking it about half the time. So,
oh no,
just like it's like that product placement in movies, you got to put it in just the right spot. Some of the other things going on, of course, Nova, you leave. You're mostly packed until you think about it till 3:00 this morning and pack more stuff. But Wade is heading off to Nova, so he'll be our reporter in the field.
Yes, alarm set for 5 a.m. I have like an 8:30 a.m. flight, so I'm packed. As always, it was a challenge to decide what to take, what not to take. Just excited to see everybody, and we say it all the time, but I'm really just excited to enjoy our hobby, see my friends, meet new friends, touch a bunch of old dirty shirts, and have a blast and enjoy the camaraderie. So I'm really excited to get there, and I'm looking forward to reporting back.
It starts tomorrow night. I know that they do. There's all kinds of pre-events Friday, and then do trades and things like that. It's at the Westin Washington Dulles Airport in case anybody's trying to do last minute show up there. Just tons of the stuff you're going to see. Big name signer also going to be there.
Yeah, Adam Oates is going to be there. That's pretty cool. Hoagie from Ice Violence does like the pre-event tomorrow night. And then, of course, Francis and the rest of the guys that are involved with him put on an excellent show. And I think Classic is actually involved in bringing in Adam Oates. So that's really exciting. Huge room. I mean, over 60 tables. I mean, good for those guys. Going to be awesome. A really great representation of how our hobby continues to grow. Every year it seems like more tables, more people. I know Paul up on the West Coast still sees an uptick of people attending. We see it in the Midwest, and these East Coast shows are killing it. So great for the hobby.
You've got Migraines announced they're going to be there. You've got tons and tons of groups and collectors, all names that we know. I hope everybody has a great time. Can't wait to see all the pictures. I know people are big with social media posts and stuff as it's going. So yeah, please share a ton of that. You'll see him show up in most of the groups. One year, I want to see Francis with all his love of rock music and stuff. I want to see him do like a rock band thing Friday night or something. Get a rock band that's also big into hockey.
Yeah, you know what he did? He showed me a couple years ago. I think he showed me he has a guitar pick collection from all these bands and rock places and stuff. And dude, I mean, it's super incredible. Some of them going back to like some really early stuff for some really big bands. It's neat to always think about the fact that I know we all have a passion for this, but it's always cool to see the other passions we have. Doc, you and your horror movie stuff. And, it's neat to know that we always have other hobbies that, kind of connect in different ways.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. We can't focus on just one thing, and sometimes you got to take a break from the one and mess with things on the other. As a matter of fact, just as a complete sidebar thing, I'll be down in, as long as my schedule fits, coming down to St. Louis mid-April. My son and I, it's the 45th anniversary of Dawn of the Dead from
Nice.
1978, and the Alamo Draft House in St. Louis is going to have the movie on the big screen. So my son and I will come down to watch that. And
Very cool.
if anybody is an old or has not seen that movie, not to plug illegal ways to watch it, but there's some weird streaming issues. It's on YouTube. The entire movie's out there. It's a great 1978 horror classic, zombie movie classic. So
I'm into old horse too. I mean, I get it.
um, see how you are. Paul, how's things with you before we get into some of the other topics tonight?
Just plugging away, doing well. I mean, it's I do have to say, Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorite zombie movies. I mean, when there's what is it? When there's no more room in hell, the dead shall walk the earth.
You've got the quote down. Look at
Wow.
you.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a little bit shocking if you have, especially for a late '70s movie when it first came out. It's I
It
guess
is George.
graphics.
Anybody that doesn't know, it's George Romero did it right out base again. Second part of Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and then Day of the Dead are the three core of those. Shot in Pennsylvania at Monroeville Mall, which, by the way, is still open and still does exist. I'm supposed to be out that way in June, and I'm driving from here out there with my daughter. When I come back, I'm actually planning on going to the mall because I actually have a museum for the movie and stuff in there. So
Very cool.
it's funny too, because with Paul, with you seeing that movie and you look at the quick premise is zombies have taken over the world, or starting to, and these people basically stop at a mall. Well, back in the 70s, the malls were just new things and they had everything. You couldn't do that in 2024 because the malls don't have jack. But I mean, they show multiple restaurants, a gun store, J.C. Penney's, all these things that really don't exist anymore in a mall. But if you get a chance, check it out. Let me know if you end up watching it, what you think. But Paul, I'm glad we found out we have something else in common.
Oh yes, yeah. No, it is a classic. You have a great time down there. That'll be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
But all right, so what else have we got on the many things? NHL auctions has got a few things going on. I just kind of every time when I show prep, go around and just kind of see what auctions are where, what teams have stuff out there, things like that. Right now, they do have Edmonton Oilers road game worn against the Kraken on March the 2nd. Looking through some of these, of course, McDavid's at $8,026. The Sabres do have a couple different things out here, including a signed Pride jersey, some sticks, Zamboni ride, suite at a game. There's also some Stadium Series stuff still out here as well. Closing next week. Mix of both sides. Wow, I actually did not see this until just scrolling through. I guess I should have looked at some of this before. But the personal effects of the Howe family is out here. Gordie Howe,
Yes.
game used 76-77 Houston Aeros jersey.
Yeah.
They have not opened yet. They actually open tomorrow.
Yeah.
With
Starting at $99.99 for the
Yep.
Gordy.
Yeah. So a mix of some different things in there.
Those are incredible. You know, another auction that's closing, I think tonight, is that AHL skills jerseys are closing tonight.
Yeah, and those are
No, not the skills. The skills were the regular season jerseys. Those closed weeks ago or
okay.
days ago.
These are these are the AHL.
What do they call? I'm pulling them up. The
actual game jerseys.
The challenge, yeah, but they call them the All-Star Challenge jerseys. Some decent pricing too. Some of them are fairly low, but others are really up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the Hershey Bears ones are just crazy in pricing. Yeah. Oh, and some are closing. Yeah, and right now.
Yeah, yeah. I always love those AHL stuff. AHL auctions is really good as far as buying from them. I'm sure, Paul, you've done a bunch of it. Stuff gets to you pretty quick, and they do a really good job of packaging it. You know, really do a good thing. I know last year I bought enough from them that just randomly they sent me an AHL blanket as like a gift for being a buyer, which I thought was really neat, you know?
And
That's-
thanks for bringing it up. I'll mention something on that in a minute. Looking through here, a couple that you've got an Ontario Rain one that's currently at 1,202, worn by Brant Clark. Dustin Wolf's is 1135. Some Texas Stars just under 1,000. You got a good mix of things in here. But yeah, some of those close 15 or 20 minutes from this being recorded on March 14th. Unfortunately, in most cases, you're going to miss these, but at least wanted to mention they're out there. There are some Oilers equipment that closes here in a few days, gloves, sticks, some helmets. So a good mix of things there. Draisaitl helmet currently at 1,330. Migray has several auctions up. They have the Stadium Series practice jerseys, and actually take that back. They close as of tonight, March 14th. The photo shoot jerseys do close on the 20th. So you do have a few days yet to bid on those. And those prices aren't, if you want to pick up a just that style, they're not stupid. They're very, what I would consider reasonable price for something like this, because who knows if you're going to be able to get one any other way. I've seen some in the $300 to $400 range, and then they go up from there. The other interesting couple other piece of side hockey news here is the Buffalo Sabres, on top of having a crap rest of their season. I don't know if you guys saw this, the news about some of these season ticket holders.
No.
The resale, there was a law passed that I believe went in force in January or comes in force in June, and I couldn't find the reference for sure. But basically, some of the Buffalo season ticket holders got letters from the organization saying, "We show you've sold a large amount of your season tickets. You now have to have, by New York law, a reseller license that costs $5,000.
Wow.
And when they sent that out, of course, you go to social media. Even the people that did not receive the email said, "Well, I'm done with season tickets moving forward, boys. Thanks."
That's wild.
And it's to curb the people just buying tickets to resell them and supposedly making money. And all the season ticket holders basically said, "We're losing our ass because we suck."
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see what their numbers are next year. I know it's not truly game worn piece, but I find an interesting part of the hobby overall.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. That's interesting news. I mean, that definitely is going to affect it.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I did see on the Game Worn Hockey Jersey Collector page on Facebook was looked like one of the guys got the Rempe NHL debut first period jersey.
Yes, great pickup. Wow.
Yeah, great pickup. And it was kind of cool. One of the things I thought interesting was obviously he was a call up, but if you notice, the one thing he showed was that the sleeve numbers, I guess they missed stitching them on. They're just heat pressed on.
Because was the outside part of it, since it's the multi-layered, I think it was the outside wasn't, but the inside number was.
Which usually means, I think what happens is those numbers get shipped or they get them with the inside already stitched on there.
Oh, that would make sense.
Then they just stitch them onto the jersey. But I thought it was pretty cool considering it was his debut and he's a call up and, all that stuff, that that detail got missed, getting that stitching on there. Or just they didn't have time to do it, so they just went with what they went with. But nonetheless, as game worn collectors, that kind of stuff always is terribly interesting. And what a fantastic jersey! Congratulations to the owner.
Oh yeah, phenomenal. And I love that it's Scott Homerda. Since if I butchered your name, Scott, I apologize. Did post it out there, so I want to mention his name. And I love his notes. How he documented it, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, he did a really nice job of photographing it, and then also just kind of going over the whole jersey. Like what a fantastic pickup, and what a great story. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there from our big page, and what a great job Paul and those guys do there to maintain some civil civilness and fun of our hobby.
And there was some questions too in there, and it was like, well, why didn't he keep it? And I was one of the ones that made the comment of the NHLPA, the contract for those gamers, and then how the special event ones are designated who's getting what. So the players don't get the choice. Would he have liked to keep it? I'll bet, but he still got one of the 4 that was worn. But yeah, and
that first
we
one was
learned,
already allocated.
right. We learned too, and I'm curious to see, because I don't think I've seen many else comment or post about it, but it sounds like these were not washed either.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's
what is it with that?
No, I mean, I think that a lot of times I think that these companies are taking possession of them, because that's a deal where that goes through the NHL auctions and I think through Fanatics at some level. So I think that, I think they're trying to get possession of them. They're not really giving them time to get them back anywhere, and then maybe have stuff go missing. I know I had another collector who had gotten, I want to say it was a Winter Classic, or no, it was the Global Series, and they stunk. And I gave them some tips on how to get them smelling a little fresher without damaging them. And yeah, it's becoming a pretty regular thing again for them not to get washed.
And we saw, and we've talked about before the year, the Blues did their first Winter Classic where it was the felt numbers, and the one set of them came back with mold all over them, and that was a disaster. At least in most of these cases, it seems to be because of the way that fabric is. It doesn't, at least what I've seen so far, doesn't mold that way. So that's at least, still sucks, and it's a surprise when you unbox it, but it's at least there seems to be less risk there.
I recently got a stinky one from the AHL, from our Blues affiliate. And it was one of those jersey off the night, specialty jerseys. But it got here, and it definitely had a little BO and had a little funk to it. So it needed a little freshen up before I went and threw it in the room.
Just held it out the window of your truck and drove 60 down the road for a while.
Yeah. I actually, at one point, I joked around I was going to put a couple poles in my backyard and do like a laundry lead for when that happened, and maybe take some jerseys out there every once in a while just to make sure they don't get stinky.
There you go.
So my dogs will love that.
Sure, and this is a funny part. Is actually the game is happening tonight on March 14th. For anybody that did not hear this news, the Pittsburgh Penguins announced today that the shipment carrying the Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads for tonight's game against the San Jose Sharks, Paul, so it's your guys' fault,
must be,
was stolen after arriving in California. So the bobbleheads did not make it to Pittsburgh, will not be given at tonight's game, but all fans that went to the game tonight did get a voucher to get it later. Penguins learned they were victims of the cargo theft after failing to receive the shipment. Team worked with the manufacturer to alert the state and federal agencies who were trying to locate them. That stuff happened.
Yeah. Did they check Mitch's eBay? Sorry, Mitch.
Now that's that. Yeah.
You get one when you buy one of the shirts.
Yeah.
You get one with a shirt.
Yeah, it will be funny if they show up online somewhere, because you'll see what stupid people do in a hurry.
What a mess.
Also today, at least, and it's big in 2 areas. Today is March 14th, so overall, everybody hears about being Pie Day, being 3.14, and people go buy pies and have dessert. In St. Louis, one of the area codes is also 314. So they did all kinds of big events in St. Louis today, including, and I haven't seen the news if they actually broke the record, but at the St. Louis City Museum, they attempted to set the record today for the most people wearing underwear on their head. I think the only reason they do that, and it is a true Guinness record, it's in their book already. Wow. That museum sells the world's largest pair of underwear, and I think that's why they do it there. So again, piece of trivia if you ever come to St. Louis. But when they did that, the Blues sent out a tweet, and I'll for those who are watching the video, I will share the screen here. The Blues sent out a tweet, and some people picked up on it, that this is the jersey they decided to show off in front of the arch. It says Happy 314 Day, St. Louis. The jersey being shown in the picture, for those who are listening on audio, is the arch style, the original arch, not the one that the Blues had about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This is the old school Blue Note, and the Blues.
That's the Arness Blues arched.
Thank you. The Blues wording is arched above the blue note.
Really?
So some different people were sharing that in some of the Blues pages and other things, saying, wait a minute, is that a tease for the Winter Classic? If they do pick that jersey, I think that's an awesome choice. That it seems that that's what it would be, because why else would you pick that style?
So that, I mean, I'm looking at it. It looks like that's. I'm trying to do a close up on it. So it looks like it's a CCM jersey and it's a number 11 jersey. So with this, it looks like, yeah, it's a number 11 with the C.
Which would be now completely blanking on the Blues retired numbers. But I'm wondering if they, because he was the captain then, and
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's Brian Sutter, so that would be. So I wonder if that's something from their archives, because it's a CCM jersey, and Sutter would have been the captain when we in that era. So I wonder if
yeah.
they pulled that. I wonder if they pull. I mean, like, no, I mean, not to try to discredit that assumption, but that looks like a CCM jersey based upon the Masca tag in the collar. And I
Well, but
wonder.
you wouldn't have the new ones from Fanatics even
No,
done.
no, no. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like that looks like maybe an original, maybe an original.
I'll have to see if on the when I go to their Twitter, if I can zoom in on any closer. But why
Yeah.
of all jerseys
Would
would
they
you
pick that?
pick that?
Yeah.
And
And I think there has been speculation that, with the Winter Classic being, I think there has been some speculation that that would be the next era for them to go to. So maybe they're just trying to see what people think.
yeah, and I really honestly hope, because the Chicago, and it makes sense, this just popped into my head, it is being hosted in Chicago, so the Blues will be wearing white.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Paul, what do you think?
I Well, I'm just waiting for it to appear on Ringside Reserve next week, but which is just I have no idea what the Blues are thinking. I mean, it very well could be a tease for the Winter Classic, or it could just be they needed to do something for 314 day, and they sent an intern to grab a jersey.
Yeah,
Could be nothing more than
and that crossed my mind too. But with that, if I was going to do something like that, then I guess you don't. I'm trying to think. Do you? I would find one of the players that wore 3 and the players that wore 14 and side by side them or something.
That would be a pretty delicate jersey too, even if that, because those are the ones that have all the heat press stuff. And that would be that's the not the Rawlings one, so it's definitely the CCM, because you can tell by the Masca tag. So that would have been all heat pressed on everywhere. So that thing, like pulling it like that
Right.
thing would be
I'm
delicate.
hoping that's just like a replica one, because they've sold some of those when they got some of the rights later.
Yeah, but that looks like an old Masca. That's the thing that's weird about it, you
well,
know?
Yeah.
Even the crest was heat pressed. I mean, everything.
Yeah,
Wow.
so the first year that they wore those, they were Rawlings jerseys and everything was stitched on. And then to save money that next year, when the entire NHL then went to the CCM jersey, the everything was heat pressed on, including the logo, the blues, and all the numbering and naming. And those are famous for falling apart. I mean, I have some of them that I can't even like put with other jerseys because they're so delicate. The blue ones actually fall apart um, more than the white ones. And the reason, I've actually talked to the guy from Custom Crafted who made them, and it was because they couldn't. Or no, it's the other way. It's the I think the blue ones hold up better than the white ones. The white ones fall apart because of the white and the bleeding. They couldn't press the numbers on there as hard, so that's why they flake and come apart. Because when they pressed them too hard, they would start bleeding and have all kinds of problems with them. But the Blues were trying to save money, so they didn't want to stitch anything.
Wow.
Little Blues history for you in the middle
There
of.
you go. So it's a lot of people, again, on Twitter and other places, are thinking
I'd love for them to
that's
go with
what
that.
this tease is. And
Yeah.
I am on Twitter on my phone trying to zoom in, and it's just the photo's not good enough to be able to really pull that tag out. It does when I zoom in, it gets too fuzzy, but it does look like the old mascot tags, but I'm just not certain.
I'd be willing to bet on it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about a Blues Blackhawks Winter Classic, I mean that's the ultimate time of the rivalry between the two clubs. I mean, you could go with that jersey or then the next one, the late '80s, early '90s Blues, the Hall era stuff. But man, if you talk about when that rivalry was at its hottest, I mean, those are the jerseys. That would be fantastic for a Winter Classic if you're looking
Yeah.
to do some heritage type stuff.
I'm hopeful for sure. So we'll see if this comes to fruition, but I'd seen this pop out today and a lot of people were discussing it. So I want to at least mention it to everybody. I know some people are unhappy that Chicago, this is what their 5th Winter Classic now, and it'll be St. Louis's 3rd. But you know what? I'll take it. And with the Bedard craze and all that, and with some of our young guns that should be up next year, I think will be a good showing. And a lot of people want it, with it being at Wrigley Field, will definitely want to be up there.
Yeah. The hard part for me is I always have to decide between every year. It seems like I decide between going and acquiring for my collection.
Right.
Because it's hard to do both because the jerseys, sell right after the game typically. And, I mean, it's an expensive trip and then it's an expensive jersey. So I like my couch.
Yep. We'll at least we know that we're 4. That's the seems to be the normal thing for that. And half the time, at least I regret when St. Louis hosted it at Busch Stadium. I regret not going to the alumni game. I didn't care as much about the main game, the alumni game with Gretzky and all those kind of guys. That's what I kicked myself in the butt for.
I went to that when it was here, and I actually had more fun at, like, when it was in St. Louis. It's easier when it's on the road. It's different. But I had more fun at the alumni event than I did otherwise, if that makes any sense. I felt more connected to the players. I mean, I'm getting older. A lot of those guys were the guys I grew up with. It was not that I'm not connected to the current team, but how cool is it to see Wayne Gretzky and Brett Hall on the ice and, all the other, even then, all the other Blackhawk stars. But it was just really, what a fantastic event,
Did want to mention too, and I think I talked about it in the last show, April the 5th, the NHL alumni are playing against the St. Louis Blues alumni in St. Louis at the Blues practice facility. All money going to Siteman Cancer Research and the Jimmy V Foundation. Kelly Chase, if you listen to Spittin' Chicklets, he did an interview the last few days talking to them about it, and hearing his story is insane. But some more people announced for the game. Jeff Courtnall, Pierre Turgeon are now coming. Garth Brooks is going to be there. I mean, it's not just hockey players, but it's guys from music and movies. All kinds are coming for this. The tickets are $50 for the base stuff, and then $500 if you want to do the whole VIP event. But you're in the room with Garth Brooks. You're in the room with these actors and these alumni players from around the league. So
Garth's coming? I didn't see that part of it. Really?
Chaser was talking about that on the podcast. Chris Chelios, Ed Belfour, of course, Brett Hull, summer skating. Dirks Bentley is coming to both perform, and he's not skating, but one of the guys from, and I'm not a huge country person, one of the guys from Old Dominion is also a big hockey player. So he's singing and skating. So it's an awesome event. You can find it on the Blues website. All the details and stuff are there. So I did reach out to one of our many Turgeon collectors to say, hey, just FYI, he's now going to be in St. Louis. So
I'm definitely trying. Me and some friends are working on getting a package to go to that, just because it's such a great cause. And it would be a really fun event, I think. So
for sure,
definitely looking forward to being involved in that.
So the other, what I would consider the big topic for this evening, is actually a YouTube video, Wade, that thank you for sharing. I made sure I forwarded on to others to be able to see. And actually, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. I have one other thing to touch on before we get there. I'll say the quote first, and then we'll get into the team and the details. Quote, "Get that trash patch off the jersey." Red Wings fans are really pissed off because now they have a sponsor patch on their jersey, and I don't believe they've won since then. The jersey, they partnership with Priority Waste, their first jersey sponsor. They have never ever had any sponsor logos on it before. It's a little Priority logo stitched on the right shoulder, and a lot of Red Wings fans are pissed. Best way, another quote, best way to solve a problem is to acknowledge there is one. Dump the patch. And Paul, I know before we came on when we were covering everything that we were going to cover, you were not happy.
Yes, I'm not sure if it's due to the patch I'm not happy, or Larkin being injured, or just some truly uninspired play over the past 2 weeks. But I've been watching the Red Wings game tonight as we're recording this. They're playing Arizona, and it was 2-1 in the third. Arizona was leading, and the digital ads went to the priority. It's priority, right? Priority waste. They did the digital ads for that on the ice and on the boards.
Yep.
And within 10 seconds of that, Coyote scored again. So there might be something to it. Red Wings ended up losing 4-1 tonight. It's you're going to listen
The
to this
priority
much later,
curse.
yeah. So we the Wings have lost twice to Arizona during this stretch. No one loses to Arizona. It's we were sitting in a great spot for making the playoffs, and now I'm just happy if they get a goal. It's
But
these last 6, 7, 8 games have been truly dreadful. I mean, they've been shut out. At Colorado, no disgrace losing to them, but how they lost was just terrible.
and
You're talking about the Blues or the Red Wings? Because man, I'll tell you what, as Blues fans, the last couple of weeks, I felt the same.
right,
Yeah,
except
but
against
yeah,
Boston the other night.
but you don't
Now,
have a
Paul,
trash patch on your jersey.
Yeah, no, yeah.
yeah,
Not
because
not yet.
then you play like it. So Paul, you do buy some Wings jerseys. In Do you think it will turn off some people, especially the Red Wings jersey being such one of the, I don't say grails,
Tourist.
but one of the most untouchable wing jerseys of any teams? Will that turn anybody off with that patch on there now?
Not many people. I mean, there might be a few who'll say it, but the patch it's pretty small on there too. And when you're watching on TV, it's barely noticeable until they zoom in.
Sure.
And yeah, so I can't. I mean, what I'm a little bit curious about is the Wings have been wearing 2 sets of jerseys the last couple of years. So I don't know if that's when we made the change when they put on the patch. I have not looked at the photos close enough to see uh, when they went from set one to set two. I know in the past sometimes it varied by player also, but I at the end of the season sale, I'll probably just focus on set one, not because of the patch, but because of these past 2 weeks. If this continues,
I mean, that's a good solid reason. I don't blame you there one bit. I'll just be curious to see if there is any, besides the bitching of it's on there and we're losing backlash. And we heard a lot of that when we were first talking about the ads going on jerseys. It's not stopped me. I don't believe it's actually stopped many Blues collectors. I really don't think it stopped collectors across the board overall. People bitched at first, and then once they saw them in a lot of cases, like, so whatever, and moved on because they wanted their player, they wanted their team, whatever it is. But I will be curious to see if more do sit around or anything like that.
I mean, most of them are unobtrusive. It's not like the European jerseys.
Right.
Yeah.
You look at some of the ones in Sweden or Germany. I mean, you try to find the team logo on them. It's on the NHL type jerseys. They're usually kind of small, and in most cases they blend into the jersey.
Yeah, they've definitely done a good job of making sure the surrounding patch color blends in. I mean,
And some like Stiefel, it follows the letters, so it's even less obtrusive. I think it's the Wild or one of them are ugly because it's a big square patch.
Yeah.
You're telling me you couldn't have just gone around the outside of the logo and made it much more.
Yeah, I
But it
agree with
also
that.
may make it more difficult to sew on if you're having to prep jerseys later. I don't know.
I still think my favorite one of all time has got to be the milk one on the
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yes.
It's just milk. It just says milk.
Classic. Yes.
Well, and don't forget too with that you got the pizza on their helmet, so you have a drink and the food.
Yeah.
Which I will still argue, advertising on the helmet seems to be more effective because
Yeah,
it shows up better.
Yes.
At least
Yeah.
in the NHL, I'll say.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And you're right. And one of the things that clicked with me, and because initially I don't think we knew that they were going to do this, but then you go to the pro shops at the games and things like that, and all those replica jerseys also have that patch.
Yeah.
That's part of the benefit that these companies are getting. Yeah, you have, call it, total of maybe 30 players in the season, give or take, wearing their jerseys on ice with the patch, but you have 3, 4, 500 fans that have bought a jersey that year, and oh, there's my logo on it as well, and they're wearing it everywhere they go because they know the fans want to wear exactly what it looks like on the ice. So that I think is part of the benefit. And I don't know that I've seen anywhere. I've seen a lot of rough numbers or possible stuff, but I've not seen any. This is what the teams are charging. Again, it varies by team, but what they're charging to put on the helmets or the jerseys.
Yeah, I agree.
I know
Yeah,
it's in the millions, and I've heard some different figures, but nothing I could really get anybody to tell me solid of it was this much.
I think that the logos became a thing where, and the Blues were funny, like, our groups, and a lot of the groups people were like, well, I'm not going to collect anymore because of these darn logos. They listen, they're still selling. I mean, like I haven't seen anything miss. I mean, I think for Red Wings fans with them playing poorly with the introduction, probably sucks. But if they go on a winning streak, you'll probably pretty quickly get over it, right?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I was a little bit surprised that they introduced the sponsor / patch the middle of the season.
Yeah,
two-thirds of the way through. It's just I don't recall other teams doing that. I'm sure you guys have examples where it has happened in the past year.
I forgot what there was a team that did it like mid-year. The sponsorship went into effect, so it has happened. I mean, I have seen it happen. Yes.
And you've got some that split the home and the road because of what they have especially the casino ones where they can't take them to. I still haven't quite understood that, but whatever, where they can't take them to states where there isn't legal gambling. Like it's an ad on a jersey. What the hell does it matter? But whatever it is. I wanted to mention one other, again, side note thing before we get into the final topic is make sure you research and do your homework and look at things. Over my shoulder next to the Chase jersey, you'll see the dark clown jersey hanging there. I was able to pick that up about a week and a half ago. Happened to be randomly checking eBay while working late at work. Saw this one pop up, saw a couple other ones, tipped off another Blues collector, tried to get Wade involved, but he was unfortunately away from your phone at the time. Sorry, buddy.
Painful.
But the other collector picked up two because they were Blues goalie ones. I sat on that for a little bit and then ended up picking it up. It's a 27 nameplate removed, beat to hell. It's a 95-96 set one. Tons of holes in the arms, the neck ripped down. It, as you can see, kind of over my shoulder. If you're watching the video, the neck is ripped open and then it's actually ripped all the way to the top of the blue note and then just sewn to the neck. Yeah. The seller online said it was a Steve Leach jersey. All right. Yep. Start looking around. It seems to kind of fit and then get it. I'm like, wait a minute. That's a set one. 3 different people wore 27 that year because of trades and moves and things, and did some looking at the rosters. And thank God for all the archive, the Hockey DB and God, what's the other big one?
Hockey reference.
Thank you. Thank God for those companies because some of that documentation is phenomenal. So I dug down and found it was a Dennis Chasse jersey. So I'm like, interesting. Knew he was a little bit of a fighter in that at the time and got into some things and searched hockey fights. Found a fight in the time frame that the set one jersey would have been worn. They had a link to the fight on YouTube. 3-minute video, and it was a hell of a fight. Get to the end, and they zoom to Chasse sitting in the box with the neck ripped all the way open.
Well, nice.
So I think it's the first of the old jerseys I have. Modern jerseys are easy to do the video match because the games are everywhere. But yeah, found thanks to hockeyfights.com, found the fight of this and they just happened to zoom in right at the end because it looked like it was ripped when they showed him coming apart on the ice, but pan zoom to him in the box, there it is.
Good
So
for you.
it was a good, not an expensive pickup. And then also got to visit last Friday. I wish I could have actually asked for a tour of the place, but I don't know if they do them. Got to visit Levy down in St. Louis. They do stitching for the Cardinals, the Blues. I didn't realize they did all kinds of, or at least used to do all kinds of Major League Baseball and other teams. It's all over their walls, but I dropped off a 94, 95. Again, another one picked up through the Rinkside Reserve, the Blues page, a stripped Kelly Chase jersey. It was a lockout year. He was supposed to wear it at the beginning of the season, and they didn't go in, start playing until January. Well, he's picked up by the Whalers and taken, so they stripped the name bar off. Um, Thanks to Wade's help, got a basically, and again, all fully disclosure, but this won't go anywhere, is got getting a nameplate restoration. The fabric is from that time frame. The letter is of new, of course, but the actual nameplate is the correct fabric, matches perfect. So hopefully we can pick them up next week. I can't wait to see that with the name bar back on it. So
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting debate and probably a conversation we have, but people's opinion is and are on that. I actually like, I sent one off as well to get a nameplate replaced. Same kind of story. Um, I like replacing the name bars. Obviously, I think if you ever move it, you need to disclose that.
sure.
But to me, if you can, in both of our cases, I think the ones we've sent off, we were able to match or figure out who they belong to, and I think it's a discretion and a choice, but I like doing it. I think it makes the jersey a little bit more complete. And we've been lucky. A lot of these have popped up recently. These clown style Blues jerseys, and it's interesting that they're popping up now. That in that era, that was the Keenan era when there was a lot of guys rolling through town, and a lot of guys wore numbers. Numbers got reissued. I
Yep.
think it's kind of interesting to see that those jerseys, were reused by other guys, and in some cases, names were stripped off, new names were put on them. It's fun, and that's like my favorite era. That's my sweet spot jersey, the clown style. So
Yeah, and the Blues wore them last night. The only game this season they're wearing them, and it was funny how many
yeah.
people were in debates on the Blues pages we're on. Is oh they look great or oh my god these are the ugliest things ever. It's always that way. All
Oh my
right,
god, yeah, I love them. I love them.
so the final topic tonight, and like I said, Wade, you'd found this video and sent it out to all of us. We watched it. I will put it in the description of the YouTube video and again for the audio version is Aesthetics put this out. It's on YouTube. Um, it's the title of the video is called Jersey Watch. First look at Fanatics 2024 NHL jerseys. Most of what they're covering, and Wade, I'll let you pick this up since you're the one that started all this.
Yeah, most of what they're covering is stuff that we kind of already knew. I think some of the stuff we actually knew a little bit more than they did, as far as like the dimples on the shoulders going away or
Yeah,
allegedly
and one of
going
the
away.
things he gets into the guy that's and I'm sorry I don't know the gentleman's name that's actually hosting this. He
Yeah,
talks more about the store bought ones and then
yeah,
references the gamers and the practice a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm
And
sorry.
I think no, and that's our focus is obviously on the gamers. But I think it's interesting. The good. There was a lot of good news in there. I think for us collectors, in the sense that again, they're going to be produced in the same factory that's producing them. It sounds like the teams will still be, unlike the MLB jerseys, which have become a real problematic. The teams will still be having them lettered independently of the NHL or of Fanatics or whatever. They're going to get shipped blank and will get numbered and lettered independently, so that quality shouldn't be a problem. I think the one thing that we've discussed is the material changes versus Adidas owned property materials that they may use versus what materials they use moving forward. But I think overall, it sounds like we're going to be in pretty good shape for at least 2 years of them not changing a whole lot about the jerseys, besides maybe material choices.
Right. And I was happy to like you said, as mentioned, the dimples is the host in the video said he hadn't heard any official information, but thanks to our insiders who have had some hands-on stuff, they are not there.
Yeah. So it'll be
And
interesting what that it's replaced with. Is it going to be the same material that's on the body of the jersey, or will they somehow come up with a different style, material that's like the dimples but different? Because the dimple material very might well be something that is property of Adidas, and that might be why it's going away.
no, you're absolutely correct. And as we've talked before when we brought the subject up, is the people have actually had them in their hands say they are very plain, which
Yeah.
I will kind of give that pass again when you're trying to, you've got the company who's doing it, changing it over. But you're right. As long as the material and those kind of things kind of holds and there's not drastic changes, I'm okay with that. The
It
other
sounds like
piece,
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, it sounds like we're going to have it. It doesn't, it sounds like there's not going to be a, Fanatics redesign on them for at least 2 years. So we're going to have a couple years for Fanatics to, make some plays on it and come up with something good. My only concern is seeing what they've done to baseball logos is if they cheapen out the logos and the crests and stuff. Because on some of those on the NHL or on the MLB jerseys, they have taken away a little bit of the quality there. So that scares me. Good news on the practice jerseys, which I thought was great, is that they're going to be, it sounds like they're going back to something based off the old NHL center ice jerseys, the CCM center ice logo, and they're stitching those on. So no more heat pressed practice jerseys, which I don't collect, but still I love the aesthetics of them. So I'm really excited to see what those look like.
And what the gentleman in the video from Aesthetics talked about too was the design, like you said, the old center ice, but in that outside circle, it's going to say property of whatever team, and then the team logo in the middle, all stitched.
I think it's going to be awesome. I mean, I'm actually, I love those old practice jerseys, and I can't wait to see something like that again.
I use the team practice jerseys for when I play beer league and stuff like that, and that rubberized iron-on crap they use now is fine, but after a while that starts peeling off. And I know the NHL teams don't give a damn, but I'm wearing that away as I wash them and stuff. But that'll be nice going back to that. He did also say that the neck design was going to be a tad bit different. Not 100% clear what that's going to be. If it's going to be more like the World Hockey jersey ones, or some of that they think might be based off that. There's a lot of questions out there still, but he honestly had some of the best coverage I've seen anywhere of inside information on it.
It actually got me excited. I mean, honestly, some of that fear that we've all been having in these conversations, I actually got a little excited thinking like, hey, this might be pretty cool. And here, even if they're plain or a little different, or that eye appeal of the shoulder thing goes away, I mean, again, I mean, as a collector, you like to see change and you like to see growth of the jerseys. So it adds a new wrinkle to them, and they're only going to be a year or two old, or they'll only be available for a year or two. So they'll become collectible in the sense that it's not a 6-year plan to leave them just like that.
Well, like how collectible the Edge 1.0s have become.
Yeah, they're hard to find, and people want them even though the players hated them.
Yeah, no one buys an Edge 1.0 to wear.
No. Especially us of the more round variety. Yeah, we look really bad in it. Unless it's a goalie jersey. And even still, some of those are tight. So yeah, the coverage, like I said, I'll link all this stuff in here. So please go over and watch his video, because he goes over a lot of good information. And the most likely the Fanatics flag will be in the back middle of the shoulders. But I think, and he mentions it in his video as well, is with Fanatics, and again, several articles I've read that have even come out since we discussed it last have really put more of the problem on Nike than they have on Fanatics. But I think Fanatics is going to try to avoid, even though they're not completely at fault, they're going to try to avoid almost any bitching on the NHL side, because they don't want drama twice.
No, why would they want that in that window?
We've had enough bad PR, because Fanatics has had enough complaints
Yeah.
on other stuff, they don't need anymore.
It's a big company. I think they do a great job overall. I mean, I think, anytime you're doing that much product and that much business, there's going to be, you know, problems. But in the same sense, I think overall, they do a good job of providing pretty quality stuff across the board. So I'm interested. Again, like I said, the Blues were clearing out some of those Adidas practice jerseys a couple weeks ago when I was at the game. They had some racks and we're moving some of the Adidas ones. So I think they're definitely prepping for it. I think all of us for our summer sales this year should be pretty excited. I think Paul's going to have his hands full out there in San Jose. They're going to have piles and piles of stuff that have to get rid of. And San Jose does a much different job where it seems like, they give you guys everything, right, Paul? Shoes, socks, warm-ups. So that should be pretty crazy.
Everything. So, I mean, the one grumblings I've been hearing about this from some of the teams is they're concerned about Fanatics meeting the schedule or having stuff. So some teams have been really slow out, like releasing socks because they don't know if they're going to need them next year. I would expect the Sharks to hold on to some stuff, especially possibly the training camp jerseys, the one they've been wearing every spring and fall.
Just to be safe.
For the camp, just to be safe until they can release them.
Yeah.
And until they know that stuff's coming in, because I've heard it from a few teams. They just, they're skeptical. It's you're much higher on Fanatics than I am. I kind of see them as if there's a way to screw something up, leave it to Fanatics.
Yeah.
And sorry, I know I screwed up the possibility of a sponsorship from them, but
no, I mean, I here, listen, I guess, there's always, I see it. I laugh about some of the stuff that gets, messed up. I mean, everybody looks at the Twitter, the guys that make fun of them on Twitter. But I guess for me, I always look at how many other tens of thousands of pieces came out okay versus the one that somebody took a picture of and put on the website.
And some of it's just the quality of the shirts. People complain about you wash them once and the lettering comes off and stuff. And that's where when you're paying $35 for a shirt and half of it's gone when you wash it the first time, I'm going to be no matter who thinks it.
I'm interested. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt in this case based upon some of the stuff we're reading. And I guess I'm hopeful that, they're going to provide us something fun and interesting and a new jersey to add to the collection for all of us, a different material jersey. Because at the end of the day, that's what we all really care about is, hey, if it's different, we want it because we got to add them to the mix.
And I thought, Paul, you with the team's concerns of getting stuff on time, at least they're taking over the SP factory. So it's not like they're having to completely spin up something new. I'm gonna assume, again, know nothing about the actual operation up there, but you're not gonna get rid of any of the people that are doing the stuff because they know what they're doing. They're just gonna be sewing different things. So you might not have as bad as a transition as but again, it's better. You're right. It is good to be prepared on that because if something does happen or somehow some material takes longer to get, you've got to have stuff.
And I know that's for the jerseys. I'm not sure where the socks are made, for example. That's going to be one that's going to be rebranded from Adidas to Fanatics. I'm assuming, pants, gloves, helmets, whatever, those are all other companies. And it's just going to be jerseys and socks as far as I understand. So,
and if there's no real material difference on the socks and the coloring of the jerseys in most cases haven't changed, other than the white flag on there that says Adidas and where you write the player's number, that's it. I mean, there's probably not a whole lot to change there. But again, not completely knowing their operation and if any material changes are happening on things like that, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
So one thing that was mentioned in the video was some sort of book that comes out from Fanatics each year to go to retailers to show what's going to be available. And it sounded like there are some design stuff mentioned in there, which he wasn't allowed to share.
Yeah.
So would
be
nice to get our hands on that.
Right. Yeah. I'll do some asking around through some different ties that I have and see if I can dig up anything.
Yeah. Be pretty cool to see. I mean, at the end of the day, again, it's gonna be fun summer, I think.
Well, I mean, again, this is before we were doing this show, but remember, the concerns about switching from Reebok to Adidas.
Oh yeah,
And-
everybody
and-
was. Yeah, absolutely.
Or wasn't that the same company?
It's
Didn't Adidas
they've
own
always.
it?
So it's always been the same. That's the funny part is, I mean, I remember when the Adidas jerseys came out. Now everybody's like sad that we're losing the dimples. And if you remember correctly, when the jerseys came out with the dimples, everybody was like, "This is bullshit. Look at these stupid shoulders." And now we're all like, "I can't believe they're getting rid of the dimples."
Right.
You know?
Well, and
I
see,
love
now we
those
have the
things.
recordings. So this time next year, we can play them back and go, yep, we were completely wrong. These are really
Yeah.
good. And
No, that's funny to me. I mean, but if you remember correctly, everybody was worried about everything being Adidas, and
Yep.
Adidas isn't a hockey company, like here. I'm going to give kudos right now. I'm going to say I think Adidas did a fantastic job with the NHL jerseys while they had the contract. I mean, I really, it's hard to say they didn't do a bang up job with their time with the NHL.
And remember, prior to the NHL, they did do some college teams. Hockey
Yeah,
jerseys.
but I'm talking about pro hockey wise. They had never really
Yeah.
eventually.
No, I'm just saying they did have experience though,
Yeah.
making hockey jerseys at a different level, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, the hockey. It's fun. Where I went to college at, is an Under Armour school. And so that's always interesting. Actually, I think I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a. We used to be an Adidas school, so this is an Adidas shirt, but now they're an Under Armour school again. So I know the hockey team there wears Under Armour hockey gear, and I've never heard anything bad about that either. So
Yeah, I think BC also is Under Armour.
yeah.
At least they used to be. I don't know if I assume they still are, but
This is my shout out to Lindenwood. I need some new Under Armour stuff, so I quit wearing this Adidas stuff.
there you go. Paul, we'll start with you. Any final thoughts this evening?
nothing too much. I mean, I hope when we do the next show, the Red Wings have a win. It's been a painful couple of weeks watching them. I mean, it's that other thing to mention, the Sharks have started releasing their the black fin jersey.
Oh yeah.
They're selling them at the games, about 4 each game worn for a period of like 3 to 4 games, and not sure if they're worn every game during that period or every period. I just no one knows, and no one's really been able to answer that. But they've been about $1,000 each. I mean, some are a little bit more, some are a little bit less. But you're basically looking at 1,000 to 1,100 to pick up one of those, and they sell fast. I mean, whoever's first, they're limiting it to 1 per person, and usually within like the first 5-6 people in line, all the jerseys are gone. The black fin.
Very cool.
Yeah. So there should be multiple sets of those. So if people want them, they're going to be obtainable.
And at least to give you one happy note on the Sharks, unless the statistics have changed since the last time I checked the other day, you guys now have the highest draft lottery percentage. Since the Hawks won the other night, you now have the best percentage to get the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, don't worry, the Penguins will get it somehow.
City's almost done.
Right. What do you got for you head off to Nova tomorrow?
Nothing crazy. I mean, honestly, it's been like Paul said, our Blues definitely have made the last couple of weeks as a fan pretty hard. I actually made a Facebook post where I cursed them and denounced my love for them, and then took it down pretty quickly. It's been it's been frustrating, but it's been a good hockey season. I mean, I think that across the board, I'm just having fun. I love what we do. I love our hobby. I love this show. I feel really fortunate. Every time we record it, when we get done, I'm glad that we have the opportunity to hopefully instill some fun in our hobby and give people some useful and interesting knowledge that helps continue to grow this thing. Again, I thank you guys, Justin and Paul and Doc, obviously, for putting it together, because I feel fortunate to be a part of this. So forever,
it's
that's
fun, and some year we'll make it out to Nova where we can do a show from there. I want to try and start getting to the different expos and do recordings from those shows. And
I got room in one of my bags, Doc. We could toss you in there.
If my son wasn't to play this weekend, I would definitely consider it. But you have
Yeah.
Wade, have safe travels. I can't wait to
Thank
see the
you.
pictures and hear the stories. And
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I won't, unfortunately, won't be able to get this probably uploaded till tomorrow night, so people traveling won't be able to hear it. But hopefully, ask people out there if they're interested in coming on, or if they've
Yeah.
got suggestions how we can tweak the show or do things.
I
I
made a flyer for the show for the
Yes,
event, and
thank you. That was
that's yeah,
awesome.
and that's one of the things I'm going to put out. And I'm also going to talk to people about like, hey, would you be interested in being a guest, or do you have topics for us? Because I want people to again keep involved, and the only way this thing gets better and the way that we fix little problems we have in the hobby or whatever is discussing them and being part of these topics. So
Well, and since you'll be out there helping out Adam Oates, see if you could talk him, see if he'd be interested in coming on as a guest, because I'd love to talk to players that, especially that have come to expos, and we did a little bit of that with Reed Lowe when at your
yeah,
expo, is asking them about walking into the room and seeing these collections in that,
yeah.
especially from a player aspect.
Yeah, I've had the ability to talk to a couple of the guys that I've brought to mine, and the one thing that they just think it's incredible how passionate we all are. But yeah, it would be really cool to get on the show and get one of those guys to give a real firm perspective on it. So
I've got
fun,
a
fun
couple
stuff.
irons in the fire with some other guests coming in the near future. I'm trying to solidify a date, and I plugged him not long ago. The goalie gear nerd. I'm just trying to get a date. He's got kids in spring break and that to talk about how he sees all the goalie gear ahead of time that the NHL guys and stuff are wearing. I'm new one. I just noticed somebody was a famous person is plugging some hockey stuff. I'm actually going to reach out to him tomorrow and see about getting him on. And
Nice.
some other irons in the fires like that. But if yeah, talk to the guys, everybody out at Nova, and get some other people on here. We can talk about their collections or different parts of the hobby. But episode 40 in the books, right before Nova, getting ready to get into the playoffs, and or the Red Wings playing golf early along with the Sharks or
And
in
a
the
blues.
Blues. Yeah. So at least all our teams suck, Paul. We can at least all be in this together. So, gentlemen, with
Sure.
that, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.